No, nothing.
I've heard nothing, I must admit.
Yeah, so we finalised our deal. We sold Airship and Toggle to Zonal last Thursday.
That is amazing, seriously.
Which is great.
It couldn't happen to a better guy, honestly. I'm chuffed for you all. You have worked incredibly hard.
Thanks, Vic.
Dan, I was thinking about this earlier. Why is it that me and you get on as well as we do? Because we are besties.
Besties. I think that we have an incredibly similar mindset, and that mindset is that data sits at the heart of hospitality, sits at the heart of marketing, and that I think for the first time in forever, that when you put data to use, every bit of marketing that you can do can be remarkable. And I think that you know that, and I know that, and that we've got the tech, and you've got the expertise, and we just want to do it.
This is beautiful. This is honestly beautiful. Do you think people are doing enough? I mean, we can be brutally honest, because you and I have reached a point in our career and an age where we can quite frankly say what the fuck we like without fear of retribution. Nobody can sack us anymore.
No.
Are people doing
that?
You can. You can.
I can now, actually.
If you want to come and work for me, though, I won't sack you, no problem. Are people doing enough? I mean, like, we've got a room full of marketers here. Are they doing enough?
None of you are doing enough. Okay, I'll just keep saying that around the room. There's so much more you can be doing, and I think that everybody's just spending too much time thinking about it and not enough time doing it. And also, you know, the chains of sign-off within businesses across the different teams is hampering businesses from moving forward as quickly as they could do. I think that most people in this room, a lot of people will be missing out on thousands of pounds worth of revenue every single day, leaving money on the table.
Do you know what I noticed when I was on your product panel in Sheffield a few weeks ago, and when we were talking to the marketers about how reluctant people are to take marketing metrics into the boardroom? And it seems, and maybe this will resonate with all of you, but it seems that the only thing that people want to take in that seems to be of any interest to MDs and CEOs is the size of the database. Dan, does size matter?
It's not the size. No, it's, I think that, you know, we as a technology provider are culpable in marketing and how quickly it's moved forward over the last few years. It is around the data and the quality of the data that you can now report against your metrics that means that marketing should have a bigger place in the boardroom. You know, Dan Hawk is in the audience here, and what Feed It Back have done with the metrics that they've provided and created that means that ops now go into the boardroom armed to the teeth with amazing data about what the customers think. I think that that's what we need to get to as marketeers, and that's what we're aiming at with both Airship and Toggle, so that you understand the value of an action, of an email, a single message or a campaign, link back to the basket, link back to the visit frequency, link back to all of those amazing, incredible metrics, which will give you eventually more budget, and that's got to be the goal, is more budget for marketing.
Yeah, that can only be a good thing. What metrics should they be taking in, or what metrics should they be like forcing into the boardroom? What would you want to see in the boardroom?
I think what I would want to see in the boardroom is I'd like to see analysis around the effectiveness of campaigns, whether those campaigns come from social or whether they come from email or whether they come from SMS, whichever the channel is, to identify what spend uplift has been attributed to each campaign. I'd like to understand the profile of my customers, who are my best customers, how often they're visiting, who are my worst customers, who are dropping off, who used to be my best customers. So I think that anything that gives the business an indication, and with digital marketing certainly the ability to act really quickly, to change a situation across multiple locations.
I just love that whenever you and I go out, because what will generally happen is I'll go and visit Dan in Sheffield, and he'll say, we'll just pop out for a quick drink, and then we kind of come home tomorrow, and we literally talk about this all night. People must think we're really fucking boring, but it's important.
I don't think it's boring. It's so important, and I think that as we go into the months ahead, and the months ahead are going to be really fucking tough. really tough. I mean, I can't even imagine mortgage rates, and it was going to be the squeeze bottom and the cost of living crisis. Now it's going to be the middle, the squeeze middle, as people's mortgages go up and people are paying £200 or £300 more per month as their interest rates hike. It's a much more larger slice of the population that's going to feel the pinch. People are going to go out less and going to spend a little bit more, but they're going to go out less. And it's a case of you've got to capture these customers and get them booked in, recognize who they are, reward who they are, drive them back, more visit frequency from them. It's going to be a really tough Christmas. And 2023, yeah, really hard.
It sounds like there's a couple of opportunities then that we need to pick up on right now. I mean, the first one being segmentation. Yep. I guess when we're talking about segmentation, we're talking about the action you want people to take. So, if they're lapsing, do we want them to come back in? If they've been in once, we want to get the extra visit, or we want to get a percentage of them to come in again. If they're a prospect, if they're sitting in your database and we haven't seen a proof of presence, we want to get that first visit. Are they the kind of metrics that you're looking at with Airship as well?
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me, and I say this, and I really appreciate that people in the room don't have teams of people to carry this stuff out, but simple segmentation that drives a context with a customer, absolutely, but automation. If you're not running your birthdays, if you've not got multiple birthdays, multiple welcomes set up, it's, those automations just deliver value each and every day. They don't require further work from you once they're live. You can click back into them and update them and set them live again and change different things. But automations really are just pound notes. Just pound notes. It's
like literally making money while you sleep. Yeah. Why wouldn't you set up some automations?
Yeah. No, I think so, and with Airship, as with other platforms, we don't charge for email broadcasts, so you can set up as many as you want, because we want you to succeed, and we want your customers to move through a funnel, and your prospects become your best customers because they're receiving these timely content and this content from you that's driving that visit frequency.
So if we've got automations making you money while you sleep, and you can just get more and more granular, it sounds like there's no limit to what they can drive. And you see some incredible open rates and incredible click-through rates and incredible conversions from those. And then we've got segmentation. So understanding who sits in your database and the value of that customer to your business and the action that you want to drive and what it's worth. That kind of brings us to personalisation, to using the data that we have, and Rowena's going to talk a lot about personalisation, hopefully later. What kind of data fields would people want to be bringing into Airship ideally? Or any other CRMs are available?
So I think really basic personalisation, even in first name. If you think about the inbox, your emails, if somebody's on Gmail, are probably going to the promotions tab. The customer's probably getting about 130 a day emails, Netflix, Amazon, all of the different news services, Guardian, everything that they're subscribed to is sending out those emails. So when the customer is opening it, they'll see all of those emails, and they're looking at the subject line in the preview. And if you've got a little bit of personalization in there and a sentence that actually relates to something that they've done, even if it isn't, oh, we've not seen you for a while, hey Dan, we've not seen you for a while, I think it's that sort of stuff that will, the customer will then pique their interest, and they'll actually open that email against other emails. So that's, the first thing. I think that then obviously making sure that the customer's not getting content that's not relevant to them is the next thing, and just taking that little bit of time to make sure that the customer's, just that it's relevant, yeah.
And then I suppose the other end of that, I mean, we're really fortunate that we are literally sending out emails for people all day long. But we're testing all sorts of stuff. So technical stuff like, size of buttons and all of that sort of stuff. We're testing the format of an email depending on how you take in and process information. And we've got some really, really good chat about that later. And all of the psychographic stuff that we can get from Rowena at StarCount. If you pull all that together, then you're going to produce communications that are going to convert. It's almost guaranteed money.
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing more and more as we've now plugged in basket data into Airship, so we know that an email's been sent, we know what it's been delivered, we know what's been opened, we know what's been clicked, we know how many visits we've had, we know how many bookings we've had, we know how many covers those bookings have produced, and we know the basket spend associated to the bookings. I think that now we've got that funnel working. What we're seeing from the customers that are activated on that new dashboard is absolutely the power that you have from when you actually do that little bit of micro-marketing where you carve out that little segment of audience. And, you know, it could be people that booked in this week last year for Christmas, for instance. Because you can target those people and you could say, oh, you booked with us this time last year, do you want to book again? And all of a sudden you see that all of those things that you've brought together just drive a better result for you.
Okay, one last thing then. Everybody's sitting here, pen poised, waiting to hear. What should they do when they get back home tonight or tomorrow, depending on where you're staying? What's the one thing that they can do that's going to help power them through what's going to be a really fucker of a few months ahead?
Two things.
Okay, what two things then, Dan? What two things? Don't stop at one.
Maybe three.
Make
Maybe
it
three.
10, Dan.
Maybe three. Okay.
No worries, we're not running behind
number
you or
one,
anything.
it's sign up to Toggle. Okay, get your gift card sorted. Okay.
Other gift cards are available then.
Yeah. The gifting side of it, I think we did 1.2 million last month on gift cards. We're on target for about 38 million this year of gifting revenue. That's your revenue. None of it's ours. It's all your revenue. Those are all customers that are going to come along after Christmas to your venues, and they're going to spend more than that value on that card. It's also lots of new customers, because I won't buy a gift card for somebody that I know won't enjoy that experience. So I'm just introducing a person that's going to like your brand to your brand. So on the CRM side of things, I think that you need to take stock and think about what it is and whether you've got the internal capability to actually get some automations live. And if you haven't, as we go into this period where you're going to get the biggest hit of data from wireless social, from booking providers, from Feed It Back, from tills, from loyalty, from order and pay, all of these different sources in every business now, that you need to get these automations set up so the customers immediately are getting a great experience. It's no good if a customer signs up with you and then 6 weeks later gets a message from you, the first message from you. So, lean on DataHawks to help with those. If you haven't got the internal budget to do it, push your bosses for budget to get some of these journeys set up before Christmas. Because otherwise, when it gets into next year, it's going to be twice as hard to get that budget and get those journeys live.
And that thing you just said about, when people are signing up, getting them through a really strong welcome journey, if they're at the point where they're giving you their data, that's when they are at their hottest as a prospect. And if you miss that opportunity, you're never going to get a chance for them to be as engaged as they are at the point that they're signing up. So it's just a no-brainer.
The churn rate around customers that aren't engaged in the first few weeks of them joining your businesses, joining those, we call it the VX, the value exchange, what the customer gets back when you ask them for their data. On your website, the checkbox that says sign up for a newsletter is bullshit. Who wants a newsletter? I mean, honestly, give them something to sign up for their data. Let them give you more data and give them something better. But having that opportunity to collect loads and loads and loads and loads of data in this busiest time of year and then responding back to that customer with a nice automation, especially as we get into January, will absolutely see you through. Absolutely.
And be generous. We're at the time of the year to be generous, but be generous because it's not a cost to give something away that's really decent. Because the difference in value of a person that's on your database and that you're communicating with is so much, greater than a person who's not. So giving them a side or giving them a bottle of wine or whatever it might be, it's just an investment in a big bag of cash later down the line.
The biggest and the best that we did was Coke Restaurants, and it was about 2016, and we launched Coke Rewards, and Coke Rewards was a free bottle of wine. You signed up and you get a free bottle of wine. We took the data from about 60,000 to 480,000 in 12 months. And everybody got a bottle of wine. And then every time they booked and they visited, they got another reward. And it just flowed. And we ended up with about 60 rewards because people just absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Dan, thank you so much for chatting. It's always
Thanks
a pleasure.
for inviting me.
Should we go to the bar?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.